Operation Desert Storm. Iran and Iraq finally brokered a ceasefire in August 1988. By the mid 1990s, the two states had yet to begin negotiating a permanent peace treaty. Then, 2 weeks later, when Saddam Hussein delivered a speech, he accused Kuwait of siphoning crude oil from their common border. Also, what Kuwait and Saudi Arabia were conspiring to keep oil prices low in an effort to ponder the Western oil buying nations. Hussein took it a step further than just words. He started assembling troops on Kuwait's border. Alarmed by these actions, President Hosni Mubarak of Egypt initiated negotiations between Iraq and Kuwait. But Hussein broke off the negotiations after only 2 hours. Only on August 2nd, 1990, Hussein ordered the invasion of Kuwait. In the conflict, there was the main two states that were engaged in a state of war. Alarmed by these actions, two-thirds of the 21 members of the Arab League condemned Iran's act of aggression. Also, Saudi Arabia's King Fahd, along with Kuwait's government in exile, turned to the United States and other members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or referred to as NATO, for support. For support. U.S. President George H.W. Bush immediately condemned the invasion, as did the governments of Britain and the Soviet Union. The U.S. was accompanied by troops sent by NATO allies as well as Egypt and several other Arab nations. Finally, on November 29, 1990, the UN Security Council authorized the use of all necessary means of force against Iraq if it did not withdraw from Kuwait by the following January 15th. Hussein defied the Security Council, and early on the morning of January 17, 1991, the Persian Gulf War began with a massive U.S.-led air offensive known as Operation Desert Storm. The coalition effort benefited from the latest military technology, including stealth bombers, cruise missiles, so-called smart bombs with laser guidance systems, and infrared night bombing equipment. After 42 days of relentless attacks by the Allied coalition in the air and on the ground, President Bush declared a ceasefire on February 28th. By that time, most Iraqi forces in Kuwait had either surrendered or fled. The invasion of Hussein was countered by an invasion of multiple nations from the UN and the Arab League. Those included Kuwait, United States, Egypt, Britain, Soviet Union, and France.
One of their key weapons was the multiple launch rocket system. As each of the rockets burst in the air above the Iraqis, it scattered 644 bomblets over them. It was as if they were being showered by hand grenades. In just over 30 minutes, more than 500,000 of these bomblets landed on the Iraqi troops.